Okay, welcome everybody to the test kitchen. We're going to have a little antics today. I'm going to show you exactly how to do a few things, but we're going to start with a top butt. We're going to break it down and just show you how to make it where all the steaks will be really nice and tender and beautiful. To start the video, I want to make sure that you know the key to every bit of this is going to be a good sharp knife. And I broke out the scimitar today because we have ribeye and we have strip loin that we're going to be doing. I'm a proponent of holding the steel down so that the blades never go towards you. Okay? Just make sure your knife is honed real good. Use your thumb just to check it. You'll know how sharp it is. We also have a real good boning knife. Gotta have this. With the top butt, we'll switch knives about midway through the cut. You want to make sure it's good and sharp. Now, this is the top butt. It comes from the hip of the animal. There are several cool cuts that are right near it. The T-bone comes from one end of it. The fillet, it slides right up in there as well. But there are several different muscles that we have to deal with. And this beautiful culotte muscle is what we're really wanting to get down to. That's the main money that we have in here. But our first job is just to separate some muscles and start removing the silver skin. And I'm going to use the big knife just to start getting rid of the silver skin. And we want to save all of that just so we can know exactly what we're wasting. Okay, but we want to start getting rid of all this fat. Get right down to the meat. Just try real hard not to overstep when it comes to the cap removal and the silver skin removal. This is where that hip bone was, right in here. And so all that connective tissue is about that. And so once you get to where a natural seam is in the muscle, you just want to start taking that away. Okay, here's a natural seam right here in this muscle, and we want to get rid of that and take it off. And that will get trimmed down. Then I'm going to turn that bad boy over and just make sure that I know which direction the fibers are running so we can cut our steaks right. And I'm going to start separating. Use your hands. Natural connection. And we want to separate. It's about getting those separate muscles. Used to, butchers would take the whole butt and just start cutting it this way or this way. And they'd find out that, you know, part of the steak would be tough because the fibers are going the different directions. All of this, all the different muscles, the fibers run different ways. So we want to clean the bottom of that culotte muscle. Again, this is our money. We want to get rid of as much of that silver as we can. As much of that fat as we can. And we'll leave the fat on there for the top. And now I'm going to switch to the other knife from here so that I can safely deal with that silver. A little bit more control with this knife. Just get right under that skin. If you'll lift up once you get underneath there, if you'll kind of go up with your knife, the blade, you'll clean that up beautifully. And then we'll take a little bit of this here, right off as much as we can. Get rid of all of that. Now, check me on this. Here's my fibers running this direction. Okay? Want to just make sure we get that right. And then we'll start cutting our steaks. And that is a beautiful, look at that. You can trim up as much of that as you want. Just depends on how big the cap is naturally from the factory, how much they left on there. Make some beautiful, beautiful steaks right there. And then with this guy right here, if you really want to, you can just kind of take the fat away from it and just butterfly it open. Gives you another little beautiful little steak right there. Same with that piece. Okay, and that's all usable meat. And then we'll just finish breaking her down. We'll stick with the same knife because we got a lot of fat and connective tissue to deal with. But we really want to just get down to the red meat. That's just all about digging, finding the natural seams. And here's another natural seam right here. It's all, the telltale sign is the fat. Right in there. Oh yeah. A lot of this stuff is inedible. We will never digest it, so we want to get rid of it. Let's see. Take this guy. All the natural seams. The more you get down to the red, the better off you are. Okay, perfect. Get rid of this guy. Save all of that. Now, with this muscle, there's several different ways that the fibers run. But if you'll check the top every time, I always treat this as if it were a fillet. Okay, so I can look here and see this muscle, all the fibers are running in this direction. And so what I'll naturally do is take this muscle and cut it in half. See what we get down to. And then I will start cutting out my steaks right along the natural fibers, just like you would a tenderloin. The filet, if it's running this direction, all the fibers run that direction. Make sure that all the fibers are running in the same direction. And there are beautiful, these are those economy steaks that everybody's selling right now. Your Applebee's, your Chili's, those type of places. That's what that steak there is. And then we can do the same thing with this piece. We still get several of those economy steaks, and you got to just make sure the fibers are still running the same direction. Get us an end piece. Start making steaks. Easy. Now, we have one more muscle that we have to deal with, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to keep on getting our steaks. We got our beautiful culottes. We got that middle muscle. Now we'll use this very bottom one and get our steaks. And now I want to show you, this one is a little bit strange, and this is one of those reasons that butchers had to change the way they were doing this. Look at the fibers. They run almost across the meat. So again, I want to treat it like it's a fillet and make sure my fibers are run those in the same direction. So now I got them this way, just where I can make a direct cross cut. So I'll get rid of this first piece, and it's a corner. Okay, you can still use that for something. But now we have our fibers run the right direction, and we can cut our steaks. We know that that's going to be tender. Same here. You may even have to make a slight adjustment to this because the fibers start to run a little bit the other way. but we just go right across them and make our steaks. And that is how you clean a top butt.